Well, it is March 22nd. My name is Carl Krebs. I'm the host here at The Things That Matter and recently had a facelift called The Real Things That Matter. It is a beautiful spring day here in Manitoba, and I'm excited that we are going to have episode 2 of Dok Talk with a colleague of mine, a friend, and a very knowledgeable person, Judy Friesen. She gave us a thumbnail sketch of her background last time, and we're going to get into that. And we're going to be building on the last episode, talking about the natural health products, the natural health approach. What can we do? And particularly, it's relevant, I think, as we enter the flu season and the head cold season. And don't you know it? Here I am with a head cold. I've been battling it for 4 days. And I got to tell you, I've done some pretty amazing things, and they are helping. So without further ado, I want to bring on Judy Friesen, and just bring her on here in just a second here. Bear with me. Bear with me. We're still pretty new with this stuff. Let's see here. 1 second, folks. Working from a mobile phone as well. All right, guests, here we go. Hi,
Hey
Judy.
there.
Sorry for
Hi.
that little glitch there. You know,
Not a problem.
there is an added dimension of difficulty when we choose to work with this wonderful technology called our mobile phone. So bear with us, folks. We're going to get much better at this. So again, here is my friend, my colleague, someone that I am proud to do this segment of our programming with, Judy Friesen. And once again, Judy, just a brief thumbnail sketch of your background and why you have this really passion about the natural health products that we're going to be talking about tonight.
Okay, well, yep, it's good to be with you, Carl, and to be part of this broadcast and to be able to help lots of people who come on and listen in. And so welcome to everybody who's listening in. So yes, as Carl said, I've been a health consultant and coach for some time. It's been over 37 years. And I really come at this from a passionate point of view. It's not just to make some money. It's not just to do something with my time. It's actually because I care about people and their health. And I want to offer them really good solutions that will make a difference in their life, that will actually possibly even help them with increasing their own stream of income. But the very important part of this is that I once lost my health. I know what it's like to not have good health. And because I was desperate, I was willing to look into some natural products, and that opened up my mind. And I was so amazed that these natural products made a huge difference. I was told by doctors, you know what? There's nothing that we can do. We've tried everything, and you're not gonna get better. There's nothing that we can offer you. And I just said, that's not good enough. So I'm here as a coach because I know how bad it feels to have no hope, and I want to offer hope to people.
In episode 1, we talked a lot about LifeWave patches, but we're open-minded enough and have a wide enough perspective to know that there is no one and done solution out there. There's no magic pill. There's no injection you can take. There's no product you can apply. It is the result of establishing and reestablishing a very good health profile, a lifestyle that encompasses many different things, like we talked about last time. Good food, diet and exercise. We talk about supplements because of the depletion of our food that we are consuming right now, and we add LifeWave patches to it. But again, we want to present solutions that work for people. Today, I felt it would be rather relevant to talk about how can we work through the flu season. It is here. I've met a lot of people. Again, I'm suffering from it too here. And today I'm wearing, my detoxing patch because that's a part of removing the toxins out of our body. But let's get into this a little bit more. How can we approach this typical season, which sometimes renders people just down and out,
Yes,
off of
absolutely.
work, spreads through the house like a wildfire, spreads through the office like a wildfire? How can we, protect ourselves? Give us some insights here, Judy.
Well, number one is that you want to prevent yourself from being so low that you pick up a virus and it starts to affect you in a negative way. We are exposed to viruses and bacteria all the time, and our body should be strong enough to be able to withstand that. But when you're low emotionally or physically, you're going to pick up a virus and it's going to populate in your body and cause all of these terrible symptoms that we think of when we think of the flu or a virus, a cold, whether it's sinus, whether it's lung, whether it's sore throat, lethargy, fever, the whole 9 yards. And so prevention is something I have to, of course, bring up, because you should be always doing something to keep your immune system strong. But let's talk about tonight that you've done everything you can and you still find yourself sick. And you've got a cold, you've got sinus, you've got a sore throat, you've got lung congestion or headache or just foggy brain. Whatever the symptoms are, there are many things that you can do to boost your immune system so it'll fight for you. And so one of the things that I've found with my clients that has really worked is high doses of vitamin C, but it has to be a really good quality vitamin C. And if you take too much at one time, it's not going to help. So you want to take 500 milligrams, no more than that, but take it about 6-7 times throughout the day. The idea is to take enough that it reaches your bowel threshold. And when you get enough of it to cause a little bit of loose stools, you know that you are doing enough to help to develop almost like your own natural antibiotic that comes from that. So number one is vitamin C. Number two, lots of water. That goes without saying. Number three that I have found is
Yep.
using LifeWave products. The LifeWave patches, Carl, have made such a difference in people who are suffering, especially sinus and sore throats and coughs.
Yeah,
So,
and before we go into that, because we want to
mhm,
be careful in what we say. We have said it in the last episode. We'll say it in every episode going forward. We are not doctors. We're certainly not your doctor. The advice we're giving here is based on medical evidence. It's based on tried and true clinical studies that have been done on the product, more than 80 of which LifeWave claims to have done. And what we're providing here is a path forward that you may want to explore with your health practitioner in a responsible way. Because as we said at the beginning, it's not be all done, just use this. No, we are saying we're part of a solution. So we want to be clear that the advice we're giving is sort of from that perspective.
right, exactly. Thanks for clarifying that we're not treating, diagnosing, healing, or curing anybody. This is an advice. This is anecdotal that people have noticed that these things really work. There are clinical studies both on vitamin C as well as on extra water, extra fiber, more bed rest, and of course on the LifeWave patches. There's lots of clinical evidence. So, so what I recommend is for people who are finding themselves stricken with some kind of a flu bug to not only increase their water, not only increase their vitamin C. Remember, 500 milligrams at one time. Taking 1,000, you're wasting your money because your body can only process 500 at a time. But you could do 500 every other hour. But as long as you reach your bowel threshold, then you know that you've got to a place. So going on to the next one was the patches that I'm finding with my clients. That has huge, huge benefits. The first thing that I recommend is that if you've got a sore throat, like what you've got on, Carl, is you put what we call the glutathione patch right there at the base of the throat. And then on either side of the tonsils, you put an Eon patch. Now, an Eon is the patch that helps with inflammation and it boosts the immune system. But the glutathione patch is not only a detoxer, but it actually helps to heal, helps the body to heal. So it helps the liver to detox, helps the liver to make more glutathione, which is a master antioxidant. Glutathione is the master antioxidant that your body, your liver makes, and it's essential for all kinds of things: blood sugar, healing, detoxing. So that would be the protocol for the throat. Let's say you've got more of a sinus congestion, then you would put an Eon on either side of the nose on the sinuses, and you put a glutathione right in between your eyebrows.
Okay, and by way of example, I went off camera to get some of these patches because it is almost inconceivable to some people to believe that a simple peel and stick application such as this can do what the clinical studies claim it does. So you talked about Eon for a moment, just a moment ago, right? And I want to say that following your advice, I did apply an Eon up into this upper area here where I was experiencing swollenness, which is going to block your ability to, you'd swallow everything. Everybody knows what that feels like. And it had an amazing effect. Within 24 hours, I noticed a sharp decrease in the swelling by simply wearing this patch here, which is recommended for how long, Judy? 12, 14 hours, correct?
Yeah, 12, 14 hours, kind of like put it on in the morning, take it off at bedtime. If you're suffering at bedtime and you're suffering more during the night rather than the day, because a lot of people don't feel as bad during the day because they're able to drink more water, then you could do that whole protocol just after dinner time, wear it all night long, and then take it off when you wake up in the morning.
Yeah, vanity being what it is, let's just say we don't want to go out in public with one of these here.
Right.
But there's something important about the forehead. You want to talk about what's in that center area of our forehead? Something called the pineal gland.
That's
what
right.
What an incredible organ.
Yeah, the pineal gland, it's actually not quite in the center of the forehead. It's a little bit lower, more between the eyebrows, just a little bit lower. But whatever the case, when you put a patch there, patches will, the LifeWave patch causes stimulation of some of these glands and organs when you place it right on them or right near them. And so the stimulation is a light wave that stimulates, in this case, we're talking about the pineal gland here. And that is a very important gland that really helps a ton of things in the body. We won't get into a lot of the science here tonight, Carl.
No, it's amazing. The ancients referred to it as the seat of the soul of the body. So we're talking about a significant gland. And from what I've experienced and what I've researched and the studies, we have certain meridians on the body. And I know this takes us a little off the patching protocol for cold and flu season today, but we are talking about acupuncture points. And as you said, this is a non-transdermal patch, which is to say it's not passing any kind of substance through the body. But as you said a minute ago, it is stimulating the body in an advanced light therapy, correct?
That's right. Absolutely. So when you stimulate a gland or an organ with light, it's so wonderful and gentle, and it never can overdose. It never can overstimulate that gland, because when we think about using supplements, you can overdose. Like a minute ago, I mentioned about vitamin C, and if you overdose, you'll get diarrhea. And so you don't know how much for each individual. It may be 1,000 milligrams a day is enough. For me, it takes 5,000 milligrams of vitamin C to reach the threshold that I need. So everybody's a little different, and it takes a lot of trial and error. But the beauty of these patches is that it works with your own body, your own genetics. So you can't overdose. It won't overstimulate or understimulate. It brings your pineal gland, in this particular case, back to a homeostasis, back to normal. It's really, just so that we are clear, the pineal gland is actually a very small endocrine gland of the brain. And it is very important to helping our bodies make melatonin at nighttime. But during the day, it serves as a very, very important gland for almost everything that's going on in the brain. So that's why when we have a cold, we often feel kind of dumb or kind of out of sorts. We have brain
Yeah.
fog.
Spacey.
When you put that patch on there, it is unbelievable how short a time you start to feel like it's clearing up not just the inflammation in your sinuses, because there's a sinus in here as well as here and here on either side of the nose. It not only clears up the inflammation, Carl, but it starts to clear the whole head. You start to feel so much more back like yourself again.
Okay, so let's get into it, because I'm sure some of the folks that are going to be watching this, okay, give me something practical. Give me something that I can do. So I recently, in the last few days, experienced the sore throat, which I said I applied Eon here. I applied a carnosine over here. I applied my detoxifier glutathione patch here. And 24 hours was a world of difference, a 50% or more improvement. So somebody with severe sinus congestion or all of those symptoms, how would we patch? Do you recommend this one? What's your number one protocol, Judy?
So with sore throat, we talked about it, that doing the Eon on either side, so the same patch on either side and glutathione here. Whereas when you ask about the sinus infection, you can use both Eon on either side, or what you've done, Carl, is an Eon and a carnosine on either side, and you can use a glutathione here over the pineal gland. But it's very important to also have the stem cell patch, and I usually wear mine on the back of my neck on C7, or the part of the vertebrae that protrudes when you put your chin down to your chest. Having that X39 on the back of the neck is kind of like connecting all of the parts that you're putting on. You're connecting with your water, with your vitamin C, with your patches. The X39 kind of pulls it all together.
Yeah. And that is an amazing patch. It to me, this is my own version of it, is almost like the multivitamin secret ingredient for overall health, because it has all kinds of qualities about it. And number one, in talking about what we're talking about, is raising the immune system. That's a powerful way, as you say. If it's already too late, well, now you're dealing with the cause and effect and what you want to do. And of course, the things that we mentioned, your vitamin C, your other supplement intake, where to put patches. But in preventative, as people might be getting ready, wearing that X39 patch is surely one of the most preventative measures you can take without going to any kind of pill.
Absolutely correct. The X39 will help your copper peptide to increase, which in turn helps your stem cells to increase. And when you have an increase in stem cells, those stem cells are like universal cells. They can turn into any kind of a cell that your body is needing to be replaced. Because remember, you don't have the same cells when you were 5. Every 90 days, every year, you've got all kinds of cells turning over, being replaced. So when you're sick, you need a faster turnover of cells. So it is very important to make sure that you're wearing the X39 patch to help augment that turnover of old, dead, diseased cells that have been infected, let's say, by a virus. You want to get rid of those, get them out of the body, and have new ones made. And your stem cells that run around the body are looking for an opportunity to actually make new cells, the ones that are diseased or infected.
So in connecting these dots, and we talked about this in episode 1, we're saying that the light therapy of the patch is stimulating the body, which is in turn going to produce this wonderful copper peptide called GHK, discovered by Dr. Lauren Picard. And that in turn is the stimulation to help the body activate and produce stem cells. So we're not connecting all three, but we are in line there, saying that this causes that. And in the end, you're winning, because your body is able to activate its own repair cells, which is what you're after. We're looking for cells to repair damaged areas of our body.
Exactly, exactly right. We have to realize that we are going to get sick more often and have more disease and more aches and pains if we don't have our cells being rejuvenated. And so that's why it's so critical that if you don't have the patches that we are talking about that you need, the Eon, the carnosine, the glutathione, the most important patch to use when you're sick is the X39. Now,
Yeah.
I do want to add a caveat, and that
Yes,
is
please.
you really do have to add far more water and fiber in your diet. And you may say, well, when I'm sick, I don't feel like eating fiber. I just feel like maybe chicken noodle soup or just some kind of liquid diet. You can actually add fiber even in liquid form. You can buy fiber powders. You can buy pills that give you extra fiber, because fiber is going to help your body to sweep out these old dead disease cells, and a lot of the virus will be swept out at the same time. So very important to have lots of water, lots of fiber. Vitamin C, of course, we could talk about zinc, we could talk about quercetin, we could talk about all kinds of other supplements, but truly, I have tested it out and I've been so amazed at just taking that extra vitamin C along with this protocol of these 2 or 3 kinds of patches. It's done miracles for me and for a lot of my friends.
Okay, is there another protocol that you recommend as we get into this, something more in the respiratory area? Because that's a big concern as people really get, brought down to their knees with whatever they're dealing with. What
Yeah.
about respiratory patching? What do you have for that?
Yeah, so there's a really good protocol that I have learned on respiratory, especially if you've got sensitivity in the lungs that you notice that whenever you get sick, it doesn't hit your sinuses, it goes right to your lungs.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have more of a natural genetic weakness in their lungs than they do in their sinuses. So for the lung support, for anything to do with any respiratory problems, we want to have the energy flowing through the lungs, flowing across the body. And so what we recommend is a patch called the Energy Enhancer. Now, in Canada, we aren't quite ready to relaunch the Energy Enhancer just yet. But in the States, if for any of our listeners who are in the US, you can get Energy Enhancer. And so we put the Energy Enhancer on either side of our shoulders, and that has the tan of the Energy Enhancer goes on the left and the white goes on the right, because all energy enhancers come with 15 white and 15 tan in the packet of 30. So having the energy enhancers
Mm-hmm.
on area right at the top of the lungs, you've got them there. That is what is very
Yeah.
important.
This is one of the unique patches in the LifeWave repertoire. It is a polarity patch, I believe, would be
Right.
another way to describe it. And so I'm going to hold them in the right order here. The left is tan is on the left and white is right. So it's easy kind of remember that. And the
Yeah,
areas you're talking about, there's sort of a soft area in the shoulder here, correct? Before you
that's
get to
right.
that bone right there and before you get to the meat, right in this area here, I believe. Is that correct, Judy? Right about
That's
here?
right. And for people who know about their acupuncture or acupressure points, it's called lung one.
Yes. Lung
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
But you know what? Even if you don't know where that is, as you say, just find that soft spot and put them on. They'll work. Now that's only half of the protocol, Carl.
Yeah.
There's a few more patches to help with the lung. So now you've got your energy flowing through the lungs, which is really important. And then right here, right in the midline of your body, right in, if you drew a line across where you have your chest or your nipples, right in the middle, right across from the nipples, that's where you want to put a carnosine. And you mentioned carnosine before. That one goes right there, and then 2 fingers above that, you place the glutathione. And that protocol of having your energy flowing across the lungs, and then you have your healing and detoxing patches right in the center, that along with on the back of the neck, the Eon, which is this inflammation. Remember, your lungs are not just in the front of your body, but they're actually in the center. So your lungs are also on the back of your body. And I had somebody who had a very serious lung infection where I got them to put an Eon on both, one on each side of the back, kind of by the shoulder blades, to help their lungs. But in this particular protocol that we're talking about tonight, one Eon on the back of the neck on the C7, where we talked about for the X39, put the Eon on the back of the neck. And then you've got your energy flowing, and you've got your carnosine and your glutathione. And it is always, always important to still use the X39. So this is a very, what we call a heavy patch protocol, Carl, because we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 patches at one time. But you know what? Instead of suffering for 2, 3, 4 weeks with getting pneumonia or getting some kind of bronchitis in your lungs, use these 6 patches for a mere 2 or 3 days, and you'll be glad that you did,
Yeah.
even though it's a lot of patches at one time.
It is amazing because I know typically my experience as I start to get into this sickness, and it takes a long time. I felt this time with a different approach, I was able to get on top of it sooner. And for those of
Yes.
you watching, I'm streaming contact information here for Judy Friesen. She welcomes your inquiries and your questions. She's even given her phone number. And again, not being officially designated to give medical advice, because we're not. We're just simply telling you that based on clinical studies, and more importantly, based on the experience of other people, as you said, anecdotal evidence, the testimonies of what people experience when they use this incredibly safe, all natural product is quite alarming. They are amazed. And of course, in the spirit of having experienced something like that, it's quite natural to want to share it with other people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain, and you can't hurt your body. You can't overdose because the patches aren't putting anything into the body other than light. So that's not going to cause any problems as far as giving your system too much. In fact, some of the protocols that I used to use before I learned about LifeWave were that you had to do, like I said, not just vitamin C, but zinc and quercetin and all kinds of other supplements. And even though they would help the person with their flu symptoms, it caused diarrhea because you've got to use so many high doses, and the high doses a lot of people's bowels can't handle. Whereas you can put on 4, 5, 6 different kinds of patches for this critical point of time, and you're not going to have a lot of problems at all with your stomach or your bowels.
I recently watched an interview, and I believe it was Dr. Annabella. And if I got that wrong, I apologize to her. She is a pediatrician, one who's actually stepped away from her practice. And she spoke very candidly about parents and the use of patches and how safe it was for their kids. Do you recall that? Were you part of that listening audience? Because I was quite struck by it, that we have the ability that LifeWave does not shy away from it. And I think the only criteria is that the youngin can communicate with the adult as to what they're experiencing, correct?
That's right. As long as they're able to say, "Mommy, I feel worse," or "I don't feel good," or whatever, then while we have to still say the caveat, which is the patches have not been clinically tested on children under 18. There are many clinicians out there that have used them for children as young as 2. As long as they can talk, then you're pretty safe with using even just one of these patches for your child to help them if they're feeling sick and they've got a bug. I would recommend it.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
Carl, there's one last quick protocol
Yes,
that, if we
please.
have time, I would love to share with our listeners, and that
Yeah.
is the flu protocol. So we started off the broadcast talking about the throat, if you've got a sore throat and cough, and then we moved to the lung protocol, and we talked about the sinus protocol. But now I'd like to talk about the flu protocol, and it's a little bit harder to follow, but it's worth it, because when you're sick and throwing up, you want this flu protocol. And you need 3 kinds of patches, not 4 or 5 or 6 different kinds. You only need 3. You need 1 carnosine, you need 1 X39, and you need 1 Eon. But the placements are more important for the flu protocol. So the X39, it goes on the back of the neck, just like we've been talking, on C7. Then you want to put the carnosine 4 finger widths below the kneecap, and that's on the right leg. So it's on the leg, but it's only 4 fingers below the kneecap. And then the Eon is going to go on the right elbow, right on top of the right elbow, not on the bony part, but I'm going to try to show you, but on the arm itself. And those 3 patches worn every day for 16 hours, if you can possibly manage it, is going to really make a difference in this flu protocol. So back over to you, Carl.
Well, I can't tell you how practical this all is. And I'm hoping maybe subsequent to this broadcast that we'll be able to put up some PDFs of some kind. I'm going to speak to you off camera about that we can follow this up, because for some people they're hearing it for the first time.
Yeah.
When you mentioned patching below the kneecap, I'm sure most of our listeners are saying, "Excuse me? What's happening down there? It's all happening up here."
Right. Yeah.
But there are some incredible meridians in our body that are connected. And those people that are listening, you reflexologists, for example, massage therapists, and naturopath doctors, you know that what we're talking about is real. This is what you need to dig for. This is what you need to be resourceful for and chase after it, because, we don't need another pill. Lord knows what we're doing to our bodies with all the side effects of all the pills that are coming out. It's shocking. And as a person who has taken control of my body and I have autonomy, I want to say that I'm very concerned over what is going into my body. And this is why I like this product. This is why I've chosen to become a person to recommend it, and why we have, why we're talking so much about it. So I'm going to bring Judy back on the stage here. I'm not sure how she disappeared, but she did.
Hey there.
And
just technical difficulties, but we're back.
It's okay. You know what? We're flexible. We're not pretzels. We don't snap in half. We adapt.
Exactly.
Just in the last few minutes here, speak to our audience about your experience now as having been involved with, naturopathic solutions and products. And let's just, because LifeWave is a sponsor here, we want to be fair to say we are, of course, recommending. And the patches, what's the risk in using them, Judy? And what does the company offer in terms of, a guarantee that, let's just say this doesn't work for everybody. It may not work. Some people just don't get it. It doesn't work. What's been your experience with the product and the company as it backs up its product?
Well, first of all, the company has a phenomenal guarantee. For any reason, they don't pressure you, they don't inquire and grill you as to why. If you decide that after you've purchased the product, you want to return it and you want to get your money back, whatever is left in the package, then the company will absolutely refund your purchase price and the taxes, not the shipping. If you join as a brand partner, that's 30-day guarantee. And if you join as a preferred customer, you have a 90-day guarantee. So there's nothing ventured, nothing gained. And I always say to people, hey, if you're looking for something else in your life to help your health in a natural way, and you've tried every supplement, every herb, every tincture, and you still aren't quite where you want to be, then you have not yet turned over every rock, every stone. And there is a very good company that stands behind their claims. It's called LifeWave, and they've been out and around and available for 20 years. So they're really a legacy company, and they stand behind their products, and they have no questions asked. They will refund your money. So I just want to tell people, like, give it a try. You've never tried phototherapy in this way before. Yeah, you may have gone to a tanning bed. Yes, you may have bought some kind of a red light pad or lamp, but this is completely different. It's the next age of nanotechnology, of rejuvenative medicine. And if you have not tried this kind of rejuvenative medicine, then you still are not getting the kind of health results that you deserve.
Let's just deal with one of the comments here from a Facebook user. They're appreciating what we're sharing and how we can battle through flu seasons. They mentioned about the cost effectiveness of it. And everybody has a different threshold. Everybody has a different nut to crack every month. Is there a way that a person can avail themselves of the product and at the same time find a way to get it at a more affordable rate? Is there something you can share about that?
Yes, absolutely. If you add up all of the supplements and all of the herbs that you need to take when you have the flu, let's say for 2 weeks, you're going to be spending quite a bit of money. And so the patches are actually quite affordable when you look at the cost of the number of supplements, plus the fact that you may overdose, you may cause yourself stomach problems. So that's number one. I think they're affordable when you compare between that and a whole handful of supplements that you'd need to take to also get the same results. Number two, you can actually purchase the product in kits, and these kits give you a much better price. You can get it wholesale with the membership fee paid for, and if you buy certain kits, you even get some sleeves for free. When we say sleeves, we're talking about 30 patches that are put into a cardboard sleeve that you buy from the company. And so when a person wants to get the price down, they definitely need to reach out to a distributor or what we call a brand partner like you and I, and we can get them onto their own membership so that they can get the product for wholesale. But then it even gets better. When they buy these kits, they get product for free. And then if they want to, they can even buy what we call a maintenance pack. And these maintenance packs are when you buy 6 months at a time or more, and you get them for even a lower price. The third way you can get the price down is that you can actually decide to do what I'm doing and what Carl's doing, and that is tell a few friends. And when you get 4, 5, 6 friends,
How about 3 referrals under the preferred customer program?
Right, we're going to get to that in a second.
Yeah.
So as a brand partner, if you get 2 to 4 to 6 people involved in also wanting to use this wonderful product, you will also receive enough money back that I would say you'll be able to get what you need monthly for free because of the residual income. As a preferred customer, I'm glad you mentioned that, Carl. A preferred customer doesn't do anything with the business. They just simply refer some of their friends to their contact person. And if they get three of their friends to be ordering $100 a month, then the preferred customer that made those referrals, they get $100 a month in cash that they can spend toward their product. So
it's actually possible to get your own product paid for by simply recommending to other people. And of course, you only recommend what you have success with. That stands to reason. But when they try it, you receive some compensation from the company, which will allow you to get your product, in some cases, for free.
Exactly. Depends on what you're all taking. But even if you can get the product for half price, because you got some residual pay, that was like, to me, that was like my first goal was like, if I can get what my husband and I want to use for half price, I'm a happy camper. Well, I couldn't help myself. As I started telling some of my friends and some of my neighbors, I had so many people that I got more than what my husband and I were spending. And I was like shocked at how easy it was.
Yeah. You know, personally, it's made a difference in my life. It has done incredible things in the lives of my friends, some of my colleagues. We're talking about people that have had years of challenges in their health, and we want to be very careful not to name any disease or condition. But some people, when they go and that doctor puts that rubber band around them and they pump up the arm, they're nervous. And I
Yeah.
know one person who had that condition, and they have been off their meds for 2 years now, and just recently went in for a checkup, and she inquired, "How's my blood pressure?" He says, "If it was any problem, I would have mentioned it by now. Keep doing what you're doing." And so another friend inquires, and you know, this testimony is by far the most powerful thing. I believe that what people are saying is irrefutable, because it is the testimony of a person that cannot be refuted. You cannot say that didn't happen when they say, "Trust me, it happened."
Yeah.
So once again, we're going to be talking about more natural health products. We're always going to be mentioning our wonderful patches, LifeWave, but just want to thank you, Judy, for your involvement here. Um, and for many other people, we have so many doctors that are involved in our LifeWave community, which really adds a dimension of credibility. How do you see that? Because we're living in this post-pandemic, plandemic, whatever you want to call it. We're living in that age now where people are really looking for solutions that aren't going to compromise their health and their organs or whatever side effects can happen.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of people that want to know how can they keep their immune system to such a degree of health that they can actually fight against the next COVID variation or something else that comes along. Secondly, there are a lot of people who are still suffering from what we call long haul COVID, and there are protocols that I can help people offline with that. So
Yeah, and
there's
that
always
banner,
hope.
don't be afraid to reach out to Judy. She's
Yeah.
very amicable. She's one of the nicest people I've met. She can explain it to you in ways that'll make sense. And if you don't get it the first time, the second, third, whatever number, you're going to get it eventually. It's quite understandable how what the solutions are here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, it's
Well,
there's
Judy,
always hope and there's always good things out there. And I'm
yeah,
here to tell you that I've tested these products now, these patches, for 4 years now on all kinds of issues and conditions, and they work. They absolutely work.
well, you know what? And I don't want to go down here, but I'm looking at my 15-year-old, I think she's 16 actually, purebred Maltese, sleeping on the couch. And according to the vet, last summer said you should get ready to say goodbye. I've applied the patches. That dog has a healthy appetite. She has full control of her faculties, and she's here. So even pets, guys, even pets.
Right.
It's an amazingly safe product to use. Judy, I want to thank you so much for being a part of this. We're looking forward to doing more of these in the future. And so I want to thank our audience for listening. This has been Doc Talk, episode number 2 with Judy Friesen. Thank you all for watching, and I bid you a really great night wherever you are. Bye-bye.
Good night.